As taught in a bit more detail in the Applied Lymphology course, money has two basic purposes, which most people nowadays call the why. Knowing your why is essential for your success. The number one purpose of money is your number one why. It's everything people describe in the area of blessing the lives of them and their family. The number two purpose of money, of why, is what they describe as to bless the lives of others. My why is not for those who aren't willing to make the positive shifts in their life. Most of them won't even listen to this, and those who do won't do anything with it. My why is for those who do care enough to make the positive shifts. If all you have the capacity to dream about is blessing yourself and even your family, this reflects on your level of success, because there's only so much money that will take. This is why most successful people in history, the empowering elites, have given so much. Some of the most successful people have given everything away and done it again and again. If you haven't written down your why, it's time to do it. And if you miss number two, it's time to add to it. Write it all down and make a vision board that reflects your vision. Practice thinking big, really big. I'm not asking any listeners of this program to join me with the new business opportunity that I'm involved with right now. The way I do things, if anyone wants to work with me, I don't chase people down. They chase me down. Feel free to contact me if you have the burning passion. I don't mind being contacted. I like being the one who's being chased down. That's how I roll, and that's what I teach. When I do the Zero Disease, Power Heal, and Lymphology events, I tell people at the end, now that I've shown you the fastest, easiest, and most powerful technology you've ever seen, it's obviously priceless. If you really want to put the value to it, it's worth 10 million plus. And at the very end of the event, I say, the first people to jump up out of your seat right now and sign up are the ones I know who really want it the most. They're the ones I'll go out of my way to help the most, and there may be a bonus reward of some kind, maybe a dinner or something. So for those who feel strongly about it, I look for people who know instantly, people who get it right away, no waste of time. They all know other people who will get it right away. Remember, how we do one thing is how we do most things. Network marketing has evolved. Thanks to empowered people, it continues to evolve. It's the number one industry for promoting personal development today, which is another reason it deserves my recommendation. The people who pretend to be above it, who aren't living their dreams, are only fooling themselves. They're letting their own cognitive dissonance win. It's up to us. We all have to get out of our own way. If you're going to play the game, think big. Most aspects of the business are down to a science nowadays. If more people will believe in success and apply the principles of success, there would be a lot more successful people. The laws of empowerment helps get our hearts and heads aligned with success. The more fine-tuned you become, the more successful you are, and the more valuable the greater empowerment teachers become. Nature teaches us a lot. The existence of higher and lower realms suggests that the Most High is selective of who higher secrets are shared with. We don't like to mix our clean laundry with dirty laundry, and we don't put race fuel in anything that's not race ready unless we're ready to blow a head gasket or something. Masters don't give the very best of what they know to people who don't really want it. Have you seen this photo of Christ? He's knocking on a door. The thing I like most about this photo is that there's no doorknob on the outside, meaning it must be opened from the inside. Remember, it all starts in the heart. first you have to really care. I do the same with some of my advanced material. With the laws of empowerment, it helps us to discern what's actual true science versus the philosophies of men. But I'm sure they've had their strengths and their purpose in history, just like everyone else. But science is like spirituality. It's great when it's not corrupted or used to manipulate the masses. The Rosicrucians really took off during the Protestant Reformation because of their overall timing, especially during the rule of King Henry VIII. They and the Masons and other similar organizations have heavily influenced the United States of America. There's no wonder why so many good people wanted to leave England for a new start. Now that there's nowhere else to hide, it's finally time to stop running and time to set things straight in our own lands all over the world. I think it's finally time for people to stop hiding in secret societies, in secret meetings. I know they've had their reasons, but without formulating a greater plan for world peace, it will never happen. With enough of us shining our light together, there is no place for darkness to hide. Governments who neglect to move towards the empowerment of their people and who hide under top secret protocols and security clearance, it's created enough fear programming from the tree of death. Those of us who are more empowered, who are waking up and who have woken up, will continue to see through the lies. We no longer accept less than positive shifts. We no longer accept leaders who don't lead by example. If they're going to keep secrets, they should expect everyone else to keep secrets. It's time to stop all such nonsense. If you don't think that invisible secret government societies like the Masons heavily influence the world, go to Paris and ask yourself if they didn't build it. How did they leave their mark everywhere? And take a look at the entire layout of Washington, D.C., and you'll see all the symbols for yourself to see who built it. Most all the presidents were Masons. Joseph Smith grew up in Palmyra, which is in upstate New York, the Empire State, with heavy Masonic influence throughout the region, as well as anti-Mason influence with Captain William Morgan. A massive organization that operates a lot like a church, but it's more interdenominational, and in some ways, it's rather attractively integrated, sort of a fatal attraction for some. It's a very interesting level of intelligence because they also have temple ceremonies. I was very blessed to be raised with amazing parents and was raised with the scientific and spiritual background of my father, who was a faithful saint of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, so as I've explained. That's why I know some of the history of Joseph Smith and Masonry. And Joseph Smith ended up getting killed like Captain William Morgan. Most of these types of organizations have prohibitions, and I personally wouldn't want to be bound by the prohibitions. For the same reasons, I'm not interested in joining a gang. There's different clubs that are good. I'm not all out against them. There's pros and cons in every organization across the board. Many of our founding fathers were members, and I don't know too much about them. I can't be the expert on them because I don't actually have the experience of being part of their groups. I haven't lived my life in that world other than what I've explained. And the LDS, it's not really their world either, although some of their leaders may be under heavy influence and involvement, and many of them are influenced without even realizing it, but they're not all about that. I don't know if my father was involved with any of those organizations or not. I doubt it because he was an even bigger talker than I am, so I don't think he would have trusted himself to submit to any of their controls, and he would have at least mentioned something to me about it. He was an unplugged, out-of-the-box LDS member, and the LDS Church deserves a lot of credit for helping people think out of the box, especially when they excommunicate so many good members, such as myself. It wouldn't be fair to you if I didn't share some of my most feared personal topics from my most personal challenges in life and show you how these principles pulled me through it. If scholars will retranslate all ancient scriptures after studying the laws of empowerment and study all of them from every culture, I'm sure we would have a much more accurate and better translation and a uniform wording of the same principles. If Martin Luther and William Tyndale were still alive today, how would this affect their translations and overall beliefs? Like Joseph Smith with articulating secret invisible combination groups in the Book of Mormon, likely with a little added perspective due to Captain William Morgan, who in 1826, while Joseph Smith was 20 years old, had just published the first book on the topic of exposing such secret societies and was killed over it, about 60 miles away from where Joseph Smith lived, which was also about only 13 miles away from the neighboring town of Canandaigua and from the Grand Masonic Lodge that sent the orders to capture Captain Morgan. But how would all prophets' writings be influenced in every lineage if they had known the story of Captain William Morgan? Let alone all the stuff that's available today on YouTube, which is mixed with various levels of truth versus misinformation based on the level of empowerment of those who are publishing that material. But that's been the same story pretty much everywhere. The challenge of having so much information available is the challenge of weeding through the mediocre information to get the really empowering information. It takes wisdom to know who to listen to, and most importantly, for all of us to learn how to personally connect with God and build our own relationship right from the source, from the Most High. I'm grateful for the example of Enoch, who is one of the first to show us on a personal level as well as on a mass scale how this is possible. I don't consider anyone qualified to write the Word of God, let alone to translate the Word of God from ancient prophets who isn't actually a prophet of God.